Hi, thanks for joining me, and welcome back if you've been here before. Anyway, what I want to talk about today is yet another, and there will be more of these coming, spoiler alert, yet another one of these Atlantic 75th anniversary Analogue Productions 45 RPM editions. And, well, as you can see here, this is the debut album from Bad Company, Bad Co. And yeah, it's, I actually, to be perfectly honest, I think I've already sort of left a note to that effect. The first order I had was Phil Collins' Face Value with the Charles Mingus Blues and Roots, both of which I've reviewed on here already, and I was very impressed. And then my next order, which I did order direct from Analogue Productions, and I'll go into that in a minute, but the postage and the like. And my next order was Genesis Selling England by the Pound, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. And just really, to be perfectly honest, just to sort of pump the, make the postage a little bit more worthwhile, I ordered this one as well, and it's not actually an album I already have. In fact, I've got Run with the Pack, and then on CD I've got, I think it's 10 from 5 or 10 from 6 or something like that, which is a compilation album. And that's all the Bad Company I've got, frankly. I kind of quite like Bad Company. I absolutely love Free. And as you know, most of you, I'm sure, will be quite aware, Bad Company is kind of like what you'd call a supergroup, because it came out of the leftovers, the remains of existing sort of successful groups. And anyway, I'll get back to that. But why I bought this, really, it was just to sort of make the postage portion of my Selling England and The Lamb Lies Down order more palatable by sort of spreading the postage amongst more albums. What I didn't want to do, I mean, obviously I'm going to be ordering, well, in fact I already have ordered Crosby, Stills and Nash and Otis Redding, Dock of the Bay. I did also order David Crosby, If Only I Could Remember My Name, although I see that one's been delayed, so I need to speak to Analogue Productions and change that order, because I don't know when If Only I Can Remember My Name is going to be released, but I order them in little lumps so that I'm not waiting months and months and months for an order to be fulfilled for something that's going to come out in a long time. Hence I haven't ordered Nursery Crime and Foxtrot left yet. I'll do that in a few weeks' time, basically once I've got the next order in, so to speak. But anyway, so this was kind of added on just as almost as sort of like a filler to make, to sort of spread the cost of the postage. And as I say, I'll get back to postage at the end, because there's an interesting development. But anyway, here we are. I know, I sort of went through the Bad Company albums on the list, and I'd say, even though I've got Run with a Pack, the Bad Company thing I play most, frankly, is the best of, and I just sort of thought, well, can't get enough. It's the first one of these. I'll get it, and see how I get on with it, really. And first listen was impressive. Gave it a really good clean, which I do with everything I get in as a really good clean. And I think that was really an enjoyable first listen. So put it on again, and anyway, I've just played it for the third or fourth time, and just sat there with my wife Jo, and we just really cranked it up and just played it from end to end, and it is phenomenal. I mean, honestly, each one of these Atlantic 75 Analogue Production pressings I play, I kind of almost getting more and more and more blown away by them. To the point, me and Joe, we were just sat there, just like, this is just absolutely incredible. It's just amazing sounding record. And I know it's a totally different record, but we put on My Run with a Pack afterwards, and it just sounded, clearly the same band, but just, no, for the money this costs, I'm going to have to, I'll probably end up getting all of the Bad Company. I know I said that in my last review about the Genesis, but that's how it is. And I genuinely think I will get all the Bad Company, because this is it's one of the best sounding rock records I've ever heard. It's incredible. It really, really, really is. Anyway, just to fill in a little about Bad Company and about this album. So Bad Company were formed in 1973 by Paul Rodgers. Now, Paul Rodgers, I'm sure you know, he was the lead singer of Free. And Free, I absolutely love Free. I've got pretty much all of their records on original pressings in many cases, and a couple of audiophiles sort of reissues here and there. But they are just so good. And one thing I'd say about Free is they are just one of the tightest bands you'll ever hear. The drums, the bass and drums, the rhythm section is just phenomenal. It's so tight. Think about that. Well, they are so tight. They are so good. And then you've got Rodgers with that absolutely epic voice. It's, this is, so basically this was formed by Paul Rodgers as a sort of a follow-up to Free. And you've got, interesting enough, you've got Simon Kirke, the drummer from Free. So, that's one. That's sort of like, well, you've got Paul Rodgers, that's a very big, good point. Second sort of gold star, if you like, you've got Simon Kirke, the drummer from Free. And I've got to say, track after track after track, you put this on, and just what strikes you is, apart from the phenomenal space and the ambience and around Rodgers' voice, the drums are just, I've written, just in my notes here, the track one, can't get enough, just like the space and the drum sound. It's absolutely epic. Rocksteady, track two, awesome guitar and bass, and the drums, and the Ready for Love on side two, stunning vocal. The bass is really, really tight, but the bass on this is quite interesting. When you play it quite quietly, the bass it's very, very tight, but it's not heavy. There's not a lot of it, if you see what I mean, but it's very, very tight and very, very tuneful. You turn it up, which is just, this album just wants to be played really, really damn loud. And I might insert a little clip here of my my speakers. I've got transmission line speakers, third wave transmission line speakers, with a 12-inch volt drive unit driving that transmission line. So they go loud and deep and low and tight and fast and detailed through the bass. You can see the excursion on that. We were absolutely blasting this out. It sounds as clean and as tight and as punchy as anything you've ever heard. It's incredible. Almost tape-like kind of levels of control and just togetherness. And, Don't Let Me Down, the drums are just phenomenal, Bad Company, the sort of there's a track, Bad Company, it's the title track of the band, the album and the song. Again, drums, the cymbals, just absolutely epic. Interesting enough, Seagull, the track they finish on, hasn't got any drums. But everything that's got drums on it, they are just all moving on. I've just wrote, just awesome, The way I chose it, the guitar, really, really growly. The space in the ambience is just wonderful. And just note after note, just turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. It is just phenomenal. anyway, as just to go through the band again. So we got Paul Rodgers on vocals, and he is just, if you don't know him, have a listen. He has just got one of the all-time greatest rock vocal sounds out. It's fabulous. Epic is a great word. And Simon Kirk on drums. I mean, just, it's on that tightness kind of way of, it's not a sort of a slip slidey kind of shuffly drum. It's a tight, hypnotic rhythm kind of, and the groove that they get into. Boz Burrell on bass. He's ex of King Crimson. So again, phenomenal heritage. And then Mick Ralph's on guitar. Mick Ralph's famously was in Mott the Hoople, and particularly famously on their most famous, I would suggest, song, All the Young Dudes, which is, I believe, written by Bowie and sung by Bowie. Anyway, just sort of get back to a little bit of a sort of biography, so to speak. One of the kind of cool and interesting things about this album, and you'll see this as soon as I pull this out, is the label. As you can see here, we're on Swan Song, and of course everybody and their uncle is on anything to do with Analogue Productions is forever saying, "Oh, we want Zeppelin, we want Zeppelin," and of course here we are. So you can kind of pretend you're getting some Zeppelin here in a way, can't we? But we're on the Swan Song label, which was Led Zeppelin's own label. And this is actually the first release on the Swan Song label. And Bad Company were managed by Peter Grant, Led Zeppelin's manager. So it's kind of as close as you're going to get to Zeppelin in certain respects. It's a bit more poppy. I'd say it's very sort of, it's hugely accessible rock. It's not highbrow, it's not prog, it's not taxing, it doesn't, it's not sort of up its own arse, if you like. It's just pure, honest, straight rock and roll kind of rock. And it's just phenomenal. Recording quality, the production quality, the mastering. I've got to say, this particular, for Analogue Productions Atlantic 75th anniversary, obviously it's been remastered at 45 RPM, or recut at 45 RPM. And interestingly, especially as if you look at previous videos of mine and things I get absolutely hysterically excited about, the White Stripes Elephant, for instance. That was done by Ryan K. Smith at Sterling Sound. And I have got to say, of let's say the Holy Trinity of Bernie Grumman, Kevin Gray and Ryan K. Smith, Ryan is the sleeper there for me. He's not so often talked about. He doesn't get spoken about in such hallowed tones. But you know what? I think he's every bit as good as the other two. And if just going on the strength of his work, this is just, I don't know, it's absolutely bloody stunning. It is just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I think there's absolutely no question from here. I'm going to be getting all, or most, or certainly some more of the Bad Company Atlantic 75s. On a similar note, I think I mentioned in a previous video on the Phil Collins Face Value. I was so knocked out of it. I have actually got Hello, I Must Be Going on order from Acoustic Sounds too. So it's they are sounding so good. It's just making me think that anything that even Hello, I Must Be Going. I bought that album new when it came out. I was a huge Genesis, Phil Collins, Peter Gabriel, etc. fan. I bought Small Creeps Day. I bought Is It Curious Feeling by Mike Rull, Tony Banks. I bought anything by Genesis, basically anything by Genesis or Yes, any of their solo acts. I bought it as and when it came out. But Hello, I Must Be Going. I think I sold that 10 or 20 years ago in a clear out because it's sort of just didn't like it as much. I think I had No Jacket Required too, and I just kept Face Value because it is a pretty exceptional album. But they're so damn good. I can't resist getting them. So I think I'm actually really glad that they didn't have that compilation, the best of, in this list, because I would have bought that and not bought anything else. So the fact I bought this, and it's so damn good. I'm absolutely utterly blown away. I can't say enough good things about this record. Now, anyway, what I wanted to say is, I just wanted to talk about one other thing which has just come to light in the last week, which is really good news. And this is about the Analogue Production, or Acoustic Sounds, in fact, worldwide postage. Now, so forgive me for checking my notes here. But so I bought this direct, and I buy, it's probably about 50-50. I buy some stuff direct from Acoustic Sounds, and basically anything with tape in it, I'll buy direct. And in the case of like the Bob Marley UHQRs, which were very limited release, I obviously had to buy those direct because they weren't supplying resellers. Now, I often buy, there's two options. So I either buy direct, and you obviously got hefty postage costs, which I'll detail in down to the penny or the cent, and duty and all the rest of it when they land. Or I'll buy them from the Vinyl Adventure, which is a UK record reseller run by my friend David Brooke. And there's a lot of people I've heard moan about David Brooke, and they're saying, oh, he hikes the business up, because on David Brooke's store, this is £75, okay? Whereas it's $60, which is around about £50 if you do the straight exchange, okay? But I wanted to just run through the actual details of this, okay? So I bought this with Selling England by the Pound and with The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Now, The Lamb is a double, well, it's quadruple, so it's literally, it's priced as two of these, so it's $120 versus $60, okay? So I'm going to tell you exactly what I paid and how it broke down, okay? So obviously, Bad Company, that's 60, Selling England was 60, The Lamb was 120, and we're talking dollars here. So that's $240, and the postage to the UK was $58.19, I think it was. So the total including postage was $298.19, which if you do the exchange is £234.74. But when this, before delivery, when this lands in the UK, you get an email from FedEx telling me that there's duty and VAT charges, import charges due. And on that order, that was £59.96. So you add that together. So I paid £294.70 for those, well, 3 records, but we can think of The Lamb as 2. So call it 4 $60 Atlantic 75s, okay? Now, if you divide 294.7 over 4, comes out at £73.67, okay? So, it's less than £1.50 difference from the price David Brooke charges. And I mean, David is a mate, so he doesn't charge me postage. I honestly don't know whether he charges postage normally. I think probably not. But, basically there's very little in it. So anyone kind of saying, oh, David Brooke charges way more. Actually, when you add the taxes and you add the shipping and the duty, which is a, very big hidden cost, they are about the same. So it just gets down to convenience. And as I say, there's a couple of reasons I would buy direct on occasion. With these, typically, it's because I can't wait, because it's, Chad will ship out direct sales first, generally, I think, and then he'll sell, then he'll ship to his resellers. So a UHQR, I might be waiting another month to get it from David Brooke. But the cost works out similar. And I kind of wanted to point that out because David gets a bit of a bad rap sometimes. And that's just basically because people haven't actually done the maths and thought about it hard enough, okay? Having said all that, right, there is a really, really interesting development from Acoustic Sounds. This last week has been announced that they have a new option on international shipping. And whereas, previously the shipping price to the UK is $59.96, I think. No, that was the FedEx price. It's about $60, okay, shipping to the UK. And I think that's, that whether I bought 4 tapes or 1 LP, it seems to be the same. But they've got a new option. Now, I don't yet know how long that takes. One thing I will say is their previous option, the existing option it's really, really good. I mean, 2 or 3 days from shipping, it's delivered, and you can't argue with that in my book. But anyway, their new option is $30, so it's half the price. Now, $30 is about £20. So it only if I'm ordering in batches, typically like the size of batch I do order, I'm only saving about £5 a record. But that's sort of, it makes them 70 rather than £75. So it's not a massive deal. It doesn't sort of make it doesn't make that a no-brainer to buy from Analogue Productions and not buying from the vinyladventure.com. I'll put both links below. Because both are basically equally recommendable in my book. But it is, it's a very, very, very welcome thing that Analogue Productions is the label, Acoustic Sounds is the retailer. It's a very, very welcome thing that Acoustic Sounds have come up with a new, basically half-price shipping option. Especially in view of how many blooming records I buy from them. And I just wanted to point that out. So is there really anything else I can think of to say about this? Well, as I say, I bought this to, as a sort of almost a filler to make spread the postage cost. And honestly, the fact I'm reviewing this now before the Genesis Lamb lies down on Broadway, I think should say a lot, because I didn't even know if I was going to do a video about this, frankly. But it is just absolutely, utterly, completely, staggeringly good, and such that I say I am definitely going to be buying more, if not all, of the Bad Company Atlantic 75 releases. Now, bearing in mind I'm going to buy all of the Genesis releases, I'm sure I'm going to buy all the Yes. I won't buy all the Crosby, Stills and Nash because, frankly, the debut album and Deja Vu are the only ones that I really kind of dig. I will buy, if only I can remember my name, although I need to find out why that one's been delayed and when it's been delayed until. And then In Excess Kick is the other one, which is, again, this is sort of rock music. That's rock music. It's, really well recorded rock music. It's just makes me, honestly, makes me salivate thinking how good the rest of these albums are that I'm going to be listening to. And I know previously I've said before on quite a few occasions about double 45 RPM albums and they sound better, but can I really be arsed with them, so to speak? The Face Value just wiped that out. It sounded so good. The Mingus the same. Selling England even. No, it didn't bother me at all. The fact is that it just cut a great album into 4 great sides. I haven't really fully digested The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway yet, but it's sort of things like Foxtrot. I was really, shall I bother with Foxtrot? Because they've got to split suppers ready in 2. But I've been thinking about it, and I'm thinking, well, you've kind of got the whole, intro into Supper's, but the opening part of Supper's Ready, and then it goes, doom, 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 if you go down to Willow Farm. And I just thought, actually, that's a perfect point to break the album. And I'm kind of, I hope it is, touch wood, where they do break the album. But, I'm already in my head, I'm kind of justifying and the splitting up of single pieces into multiple sets, and I'm sort of thinking, oh, could they have done Tales from Traffic Oceans? I wish they would do Yes, Going for the One, because that's an album which absolutely love the music, but I really don't like the mastering of it. It's not, it's an incredibly epic sounding album, but it's just not good. I mean, it's, I'm now just like I've got some sort of rabid appetite for these records, and I'm like, damn, why don't they do that? Why don't they do that? Why don't they do that? Chad, if you're watching, I've got a dozen great follow-up ideas, okay? Anyway, I think I've rambled on enough. This is absolutely, utterly phenomenal and 100% recommended. I can't believe how good it sounds, really and honestly. And it really does elevate Ryan K. Smith in my, I'm that far away from thinking he's my favourite cutting mastering engineer there is. It's stunning. And I often forget to say this, but if you like this video, please do click the like button, give me a thumbs up. And if you like what I do, subscribe, it all helps. And I look forward to seeing you soon for the next video. Okay, thanks very much. Bye for now. Bye.